I'm gonna tell you, today is probably a good day. Second day, you just had three of the high spending HCA, actually four of the high spending HCAs on the panel. So I want you to give a clap out there. That's never been done before. I want to tell you that. And they came and they really supported. I do want to say hats off to all of the HCAs for the department because they didn't have to do this. We reached out to them and we really wanted to say, hey, listen, need your support because this is again what I talked to you guys about at the beginning was the commitment to you. So I'm going to bring them, but you got to be prepared and you got to be resilient. Okay. So remember what we talked about that CPR. You got to keep doing that every time you come here. And then also one of the things yesterday I forgot to thank, and it wasn't, it was my fault. I do want to thank the Office of Acquisition because that's who I'm really tied to with inside of the department. Ms. Katrina Brisbane's office really has provided me the support, the freedom to get this thing done, and really has invited me to participate in all of the HCA events with her. And that is her commitment because she has billions of dollars, over $40 billion of acquisition that she has to be responsible for. And she invites me in. And I appreciate that. And that's hats off to the acquisition. Thank you. So this is probably one of my most exciting things today. You see, we got the fire back there. I have two of the people that I have respected the most. When you talk about people who care about small business, care about your success, care about what you're doing, how you're doing, even through whether a contractor or just a government civilian, I will tell you, Jackie and Francine are probably the two most important people that have impacted me as a person and impacted my career. So I want to give the hats off to them. Thank you. So with that being said, we're going to do a little bit of different in this fireside chat. There are some questions that I'm going to ask them, but really it is questions that you want to ask them because what you're getting from them are two individuals who have been in the SBA, been in the federal government, been in industry. You got a wealth of experience that you're going to hear from today from both of them. And this is just the beauty of just being here. What we've assembled this week or this last couple of days, last day, is just a great group of speakers that are bringing information that you can take back. So again, start to get your questions ready because we're going to take some questions, but we're going to start off with some questions to them first, and then you guys will be able to participate after that. Okay. So that being said, I would like Jackie first. You do a little bit of introduction of yourself, and then we'll go to Francine. Thank you.
Good morning again. I'm Jackie Robinson Burnett, the Associate Administrator for the Office of Government Contracting and Business Development at the U.S. Small Business Administration. And my office is responsible for the $240 billion spend with prime and subcontracts across the federal government. We oversee, coach, and lead the OSDBUs across every federal agency. We assign their goals. We give them scorecards. HHS has a great one. And all protests, policy, NAICS site standards, everything that has to do with small business government contracting starts in this office.
Thank you. Francine.
Hello, everyone. Good morning. Morris. Oh, sorry. Need to learn how to work the mic. I'm Francine Morris. I am the Director of Government Contracting at the Small Business Administration. I'm extremely excited to be here. I really appreciate Shannon for offering an opportunity to participate on this platform. And so I look forward to speaking with you all. In my office at Government Contracting, notice I didn't put the business development piece there, although we participate. Government contracting, we oversee all the federal government agencies compliance. I don't have contracts, so I don't award contracts. So when you hear Office of Government Contracting, people come to me and they want to talk to me about contracts. I oversee. We ensure that government agencies are being compliant when they're reaching out to you all for opportunities. So I look forward to it.
Okay, so that being said, we're gonna get into the first tough question. So I tell you, given the, and this will start off with you, Jackie, given the short runway, you're just getting here, what are some of the key initiatives that you're really focused on for SBA to have that institutional change for the future? So we'll
Mhm.
start with you.
Thank you for that question, Shannon. I think one of the things I look at in terms of what can I do in this short runway, 12 months, where the SBA asked me to come back, is relationships between contracting and small business teams. And you all are setting a standard here with HHS. But as I mentioned yesterday, the relationship between contracting and the small business office was broken at HHS a few years ago. Those teams just clashed. And you cannot, the small business office doesn't have their own contracts to award. The contracting team does. And if those two teams aren't working together to meet the small business goals, then they just don't happen. I was just amazed to see the HCAs here talking about one of them. We met all 5 goals and we plan to do it again. And that happens, yeah. That happens with relationship. So what I really want to do is coach and mentor this workforce, the small business workforce, on how do you build that relationship with the contracting offices so you can then bring in the small businesses to make things happen. Because if you don't have a relationship with them, you can't even open the door for a small business to work with the contracting office. The other thing that's important is the 8A program has a history of 3 to 5 years after a firm graduates, they cease to exist. And a lot of people don't know that. A lot of people also don't know that 50% of 8A companies never win a contract. Never. And after 3 to 5 years, those that have been successful cease to exist. So I want to make sure that there's a runway to get from graduation to mid-tier if they want to and sustain and go large. And that's the focus on the mentor protege program and how to operate it, not just get a protege and then wait and hope that you get a contract, but what do you do with that? And then the certification, the big certification program that we're doing. Firms can't win contracts or compete for contracts if they're not certified. We at the SBA don't want to be the barrier for you getting certification. And I'll talk a little bit more about that if I have an opportunity, but it's not just shifting the IT system to go from 4 systems to 1, but it's also realigning all of the staff. So I have a huge team all across the country, and I have to realign all of the employees that used to just do WOSB certifications or veteran certifications or HubZone or 8A. They all have to learn every certification.
Wow, wow,
So, and you're talking about the
Yeah.
union, yeah. You're talking about union issues, and a lot. And then, of course, customer service. Like the customer experience, I ask my team, every day you come to work, you should be excited. And if you're not excited, then fake it.
Fake it.
They know it.
Fake it.
Because when a
Fake it.
small business calls the SBA, I want them to get someone on the other end of the phone that's excited to get the call and to help them, not someone that's burnt out and tired and doesn't even want to be there. And I always ask, if your clients could go somewhere else to get what they get from you, would they still come to you? And that's how you stay in business. And we need to run the SBA like a business.
Okay. Okay, good, good. Now, hey, that's great. All right, Francine, I got to get you now. Come on.
So I'm always excited. Okay.
Yes.
Everyone that knows me know that this is my passion. This is what I do. I could do other things. I choose to do this. My job is to ensure that there's contracting opportunities. And that's what I'm here to do. You can get all the certifications in the world. SBA Office of wonderful abundance of loan programs that you can get money, but you got to pay that money back. It's a guaranteed loan. Loan is the key word. Government contracting is how you pay it back. And so I have a big job that Jackie, the administrator, has put me in. And so I stay focused on that. And I look at that's, one of the biggest thing that I want to be able to accomplish. And that's teach my folks, my team. I have a team across the country that's advocating on your behalf to ensure the government is doing what they're supposed to do. And I'm pouring into them to give them that space, empower them to do just that. So for me, it's opening the doors on contracting opportunities for you.
Okay. So I do want to go back to you, Jackie, on just expand just a little bit more on that certification portal. That is a change, in how we do business, especially when you think about the veteran certification in that time frame.
Yes, we just brought the vet cert program over to the SBA last year, and it was a tremendous success. We're certifying firms in 2 weeks.
Ooh,
2 weeks.
Ooh.
Now, the reason why it was so successful is because when it was realigned, Congress also sent millions of dollars to help support it. And we have a contract with 30 employees on that contract, as well as the government staff that make sure that that happens. In contrast, the woman-owned small business program, we took that out of Hyde and took 7 people out of our rest of our teams to stand up the WOSB program with no additional money. And so that program has a backlog of 12 months to get certified. And now, of course, you know that Congress is also saying that you can't self-certify anymore for WOSB or service-disabled vets. So we have 4 different broken systems, one for HubZone, one for 8A. I'm sorry, 3 broken systems, one for HubZone, 8A, and WOSB. The vet cert system is working well. We're going to create what's called My SBA certifications. My SBA certification. You're going to be able to go on the My SBA portal, have a login, and everything that you get from training to loans to certifications will be in that one portal. So instead of submitting tax returns, go ahead. Yes. So when you think about the certification, how many are multi-certified? Okay, so if you're multi-certified, you submitted your tax returns, business documents, everything into 4 or 3 different systems. One of my teams may have said your tax returns are fine. Another may have said there's an issue with them. One said your governing documents are okay. Another kicked them back. The teams weren't even aligned. They're still not aligned. And so we're going to allow you to submit the documents one time and then click radio buttons to say, I think I'm eligible for woman-owned 8A HubZone. And one person on our team will review that application from beginning to end. And you'll get a letter that says you're certified. Yes. You'll get a letter that says you're certified in multiple programs. Someone asked at a conference, is this like a super certification? No. It's the same, different 4 certifications. It's just one system because certifications are about set asides. There's no super set aside, right? You can't set aside an acquisition in 2 areas. You can't say, this is set aside for hub zones that are 8A or service disabled vets that are women. You can only set it aside in one area. And that's why we do the certifications. So it's realigning the entire team. We plan to launch this this year, and it's going to happen before the fiscal year.
Okay.
Before the fiscal year. I'm telling it now, you team, go get it done.
That's a lot of pressure. That's a lot of pressure.
It's a lot of pressure. Sometimes you don't put out the dates because you don't know if you're
Right.
going to be successful, but we don't have a choice but to be successful. Like the timeline is clicking and we have to get this done. The administrator, Administrator Guzman, really want to focus on customer experience, right? Because if we at the SBA don't have a good customer experience for our small businesses, how are we showing them how to have good customer service with their clients, which is also the government?
Okay, good deal. Great. Wow, that's a lot of good information.
Yeah.
So I got to go back to you, Francine, on this because you're in that policy compliance arena. So what are some of the things you're focused on as it relates to the compliance for the other federal agencies so I can be prepared as being OSDBU for when you come down? And maybe even focus it on subcontracting because that's been one of the challenges
Yeah.
for, you know, the federal government.
So I got a whole list. I was hoping for this question. One thing I'm going to start doing, in all seriousness, is you will hear from me because I'm going to meet with each of our federal agencies, and not just meeting any folks. I'm going to be asking for that meeting with the senior procurement executive, meeting with the director of the small business office, your HCAs, in an effort to reset our relationship. I'm not coming after you. I want to work with you in partnership. SBA, we don't want to slow things down. We want to see how we can engage with each of the agency to speed things up, because when we slow things down, it impacts industry. It impacts the agency and the program offices. We're trying to figure out how can we work better as partners. And so in that conversation, we're going to talk about some of these large bundling requirements that we see, these multi-billion dollar, multi-year, 20-year contracts. The goals that we set in those contracts now is going to be there, whether it's prime or sub, for the next 10 years in most occasions, you know? And so we want to talk about how can we start early engagement with the SBA, getting our PCRs at the table early, looking at those subcontracting opportunities as you're planning in this large acquisition process. So those are just a couple things, looking at on-ramps, off-ramps, new entrants. How can we get new firms back into the industry? We know women are very adversely impacted from COVID.
Yes.
And so we need to get those women back into the workforce. And so those are some of the conversations. That's what you can look forward to meeting with me, Shannon.
All
And I
right.
so look forward to meeting with you.
Hey, so I have folks might not know, but both of you have been in the SBA, have left the SBA and done other things, and then now you're back. What are some of the things that need to change or need to stay the same? What does it look like now? And you could either one of y'all could take because both the questions is for both of you.
So I spent over 35 years in the federal government. I grew up as a contract specialist, contracting officer. And then, of course, when I found out that small business advocates go to conferences, I thought, I'm gonna switch to that. But there's some people like I see Kenyatta. We worked together for years, and Alice and Katrina as well. And we worked together in the Army. And so over the years, one of the things that I have seen is for small business programs, people that are coming from outside of contracting and small business programs leading in high levels at the OSDBU office. And they don't really have a commitment to contracting or to small business. They saw a senior executive position and their agency needed to transition them, and they're in a position where they don't have the heart to do what they need to do. And so one, to be engaging in the selection of OSDBUs and leaders across the federal government to make sure we're not getting people in positions that are just being replaced. You know, like Shannon, you had a significant career in contracting, program management, leadership. That's the kind of person I want to be in a small business OSDBU office. And that's why you were able to come and very quickly shift the program around. And of course, it wouldn't have happened if Katrina was not the kind of person that was already small business focused. Like, she has been small business friendly before she was in this position. And so it allowed you to do that. But sometimes you see a new OSDBU, the doors are closed in that agency. We have, unfortunately, one of our largest organization, the senior procurement executive wrote a policy that the OSDBU or the small business office signed off on, that the small business office will not review acquisition strategies.
Whoa.
I'm gonna just put it out.
Put it out there.
Wow.
It's the Army. The Army Small Business Office does not review acquisition strategies. And the policy was written by the senior procurement executive that they don't need to. And the Small Business Office agreed to it.
Ooh.
So when we call them and say, hey, did you know this multiple award task order vehicle is sucking up a lot of small business contracts? They have no clue because we don't do that anymore.
Wow.
What are y'all doing? So sometimes you're putting people in those jobs that don't have this background, they don't have the passion for it, and they're happy for someone to say, you don't need to review acquisition strategies. We'll handle it. So that's one.
Okay. All right.
I'm going to just say, and the other big, that needs to change,
Mhm.
but it takes someone at a higher level position to look across the government to say, this cannot happen anymore.
Right.
And someone that's willing to pick up the phone to the Secretary of the Army or the DOD OSDBU and say, do you know you have this situation here?
Right.
And the impact. The government was wonderful during COVID. This is important. This is like the stomp your feet session. The government was wonderful during COVID to give PPP loans and EIDL loans the SBA gave to companies all across the country to help them stay in business during COVID, help them pay their employees during COVID. There was a promise during the last administration that those loans would be forgiven. And I remember I was sitting at home figuring out, well, the loans come from banks. And who's telling the banks, give these loans and you're not going to get paid back? So there was some policies that didn't line up. Some loans were forgiven, but some were not. And some of the companies took $100,000 to $200,000 to $400,000 loans to pay their people who were at home not working because the government said, we'll forgive these loans. The loans are coming due now. And you have a $400,000 loan due for a company that kind of shut down operations and may only have 3 employees now. Since they're not paying, they're automatically being shifted to the Department of Treasury for collections. Some of these loans are being shifted when a company may have 50 employees and they have revenue coming in, but they can't make these loan payments the way that they're designed. They're going to Treasury. Treasury is sweeping 100% of the pay for these firms. So they're walking into office one day and they're trying to make payroll for the last 2 weeks and all the money is gone.
Wow.
So what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to work with Treasury now to say, in these cases, why are you taking 100% of the pay? Why don't you take 10 or 15% so the company can stay in business? We have veteran 8A, women-owned, hubs-owned companies that are going out of business in 3 weeks because that's about how long you can stay in business when somebody takes all of your money.
Wow. Wow.
And that needs to be solved. Like sometimes we can, like that's a situation that would take somebody at a higher level to say, let's stop this and look at the impact across the country. Because it's not just about one company, it's broader. And some of you may know people in this situation, but if you have those loans, start paying them, start working with the SBA, because once they're charged off to Department of Treasury, it's a wrap.
Wow. Wow. Ooh, okay. All right. You take that.
There's a
Okay,
question,
yes,
but
I'm
go ahead.
sorry.
No,
So-
Okay.
I don't know if you,
Okay. Hold on one second. We're gonna get to questions in 1 second. Let Francine, you go, please.
So, why did I leave and come back? So, some of you know me, I started my career in private industry. So I spent over 20 some odd years as a federal contractor. And I tell people I didn't leave because I wasn't making money. You make money, right? That's why you go into business. I had an opportunity to have my own consultant firm, But I left and said, because of personal reasons, I went into the federal government to pretty much stabilize, because you all know you have the company on your hip. I didn't know when I went back to work for Jackie that I still would have a phone on my hip. I was enjoying. But anywho,
Act excited.
I'm excited. I was going to fix the government. And I said the agency that needed to be fixed was the Small Business Administration. I had enough. And I tell everybody that the Small Business Administration fixed me. But I had a nice run, you know, having an opportunity working in the field office, impacting some firms right here today. When I came into the federal government, bringing that contractor experience and being able to talk to a lot of you and understanding a contractor that is thousandaire is, you don't treat them the same as the ones that are millionaires or 10 millionaire or 30 millionaire. You all have to be able to, you operate differently, you grow. But I spent a nice 10 years there, and I had an opportunity to kicking and screaming, but it is an opportunity, you never know, to go into the agency. And at SBA, I wrote policy, but throughout all the programs, the mentor protege program, had an opportunity to work with Jackie, believe it or not, and stood it up. I went to the National Science Foundation in the small business office, because we can write those policies at SBA, but then you have to go and see how they work and execute at the agency level. So it gave me a different experience. And then I had an opportunity to come back home. And it's nice to come back home when you have an administrator that understands what you do. And Administrator Guzman knows government contracting. And then, I mean, the added surprise when Jackie came, I was like, wow, the team's all together again.
The band's back together.
All together again. It was, you know, so that was the reason why I came back. I could have stayed in the agency, but I wanted to come back because you can impact an agency or you can have an impact in an entire government. And this is what this role allows me to do. So I'm excited to be back.
Oh, thank you,
Thank
thank
you,
you, thank you.
Shannon.
So, yes, you got a question? Okay, I'm sorry.
Shannon,
Yes, ma'am.
let me just add this. The way I try to lead the team is just through a common sense approach, right? And to look at every opportunity to raise the bar and bring about change, not just look at what the regs say, but first think about how things should be done. And if there's a reg that prevents it, change the reg. When I was here before, those of you that were certified in the 8A program before 2014, you had to send boxes of paper to the SBA to get an application, and then it would be mailed back because it was missing a document that was in there, but they didn't know it was in there, so you had to mail it back. And sometimes it will be mailed back because you completed the wrong form.
Right.
And they will be mailed back 2 and 3 times. Like every week, we were sending back 30 to 40 applications of people submitting on the wrong form. And when I got there, I said, where are these people getting this form from? We don't know. Why doesn't somebody just ask them? Because they're all submitting the same wrong form. So I called one of the firms. Oh, it's on your website. That's the form that we're using. So, you know, it's just like, sometimes it's just common sense. Take that next step. And then during that time, we stood up the Mentor Protege program, now rolled the 8A program into the Mentor Protege program. And then we created certified.sba.gov so you could at least submit online. And so when I, you know, come back to be able to roll all the certification programs together, I'm thrilled that the government asked me, you know, because they could have asked anyone to come back and lead during this last year. And I'm thrilled that they asked me, and I believe we're going to make it all happen.
No, hey, I'm happy. I'm happy. That's two advocates. We want to take one question?
Good morning.
Good
My
morning.
name is Donald Lee, CEO of W&T Travel Service. First of all, I want to thank you all for having this panel, Mr. Jackson and Ms. Burnett, Ms. Morris. During COVID, I want to piggyback on COVID. During COVID, in March of 2020 through March of 2022. A lot of small businesses, including my company, we did receive the PPP loan, but we also had employees that were sitting home. And while they were sitting home, Johnny never had leave when he was at work. So
Mhm.
now he has 240 hours on the books. Johnny O'Murray never comes back to work. Under our P&L, we have to pay these employees out. So a lot of companies lost profit because now we got employees who never came back to work, but we got to pay out by law the vacation leave. And we lost a lot of money because of the fact we had to pay out a lot of leave for employees who never returned back to work.
Wow. I'll tell you, that is something that has never been considered or thought of.
Is there anything the White House or the SBA to look at as far as moving forward with that?
Yes, I just wrote it down. We will go back and look at it.
All right, let's take, anybody got another? Okay, yeah, we got a question right there in the center. And then you, sir, right after, okay? Yes, ma'am. Hit the button in the middle.
So in regards to the new you can do all the certifications in one spot. For those who are already certified, will that be done retroactively? Maybe once we renew now, we'll have the opportunity to be considered for the others,
Yes, what certifications do you have right now?
just the WOSB.
Yes, so if you are eligible for 8A, you'll go into that portal, your WOSB will shift to that portal, and any other certifications that you're eligible for, right? That you're eligible for. And then we want to move it to where during your annual review time, that it'll be simple. You're not doing an annual review for 4 different programs at 4 different times. It will be consolidated too. So submit your tax returns and that would, align accordingly. So we're still working out how to, yes, thank you. Some reviews are 3 years and some are 1 year, but we want to line it all up.
I hear a lot of that go on and sound off. Okay, another question right there in the center, sir.
Thank you, Shannon. Good morning, Fred Butler Jr., CivDef Group. I have a very similar question. Recently certified as an SDBU. Excellent process. Now that you have that information, will that also be incorporated for example, the 8A certification that we would be eligible for this year?
Yeah, you will, the 8A, your services able vet certification will transfer into our new system, My SBA certifications, and you will go into that same system to apply for 8A. If you can apply for 8A and HubZone and do those at the same time, you would then get that one letter that has both of them.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank
Listen, those are huge advances. Y'all should be clapping that up.
Yes.
Okay, question right here. Oh, I'm sorry. Hold on. Get this gentleman right there, and then you next, ma'am.
Good morning. I'm Rafael from Lighthouse Integrated. We're based out of Puerto Rico. Jack, we just wanted to tell you like a testimonial. It is working. We are 8A and we became 8A last May. And at the beginning of the year, we were told, hey, why don't you try for the WOSB?
Yes.
Since our founder owner is a woman. It took a week
Yes.
for us to get the letter with the certification for WOSB.
Yes.
So our Apex helped us, go through the process. It took like 20 minutes online. And I was very surprised because everybody was telling us, oh, it's going to take 12 months.
Yes.
But it took a week. So thank you. Thank you
Yes,
for what you're
let me-
doing.
Let me share. Yeah, let me share real quickly. We are already looking to see how we can leverage existing certifications to simplify the next certification. We don't have it all in one portal, but if we find out that you're submitting for woman-owned and you're already 8A or HubZone, well, we've already looked at everything we need to look at. And so we have Elisa right here in the front. Say hi, Elisa.
Stand up, stand up. Don't hide with your hand back there. There you go.
Elisa runs the Woman-Owned Small Business Program, and she has come up with this process to fast track those firms that are already certified. So if you're waiting for your WOSB right now and you're already 8A or HubZone or Service Disabled Vet, we can quickly fast track it. And let me just share one other thing, because I love to do things that cause excitement. One thing we're doing now is if you have an application for 8A HubZone WOSB in the system and you see us at an event And it's been in the system for a while, and we can look and see that you're eligible, or we can push it through. We're certifying firms on the spot at conferences.
Wow.
This is so exciting. Listen. Okay, now, like, this is a whole, I'm sorry. Listen, I almost.
It's like a game show here, I'll tell you. Do you want to win something
Okay.
today? Right here, we gonna go ahead on and do it. I have
Listen.
to tell,
Okay,
I'm excited. Now, did y'all see Jackie touch Francine like, okay, I'm about to release this one right here. I'm about to give it out. I'm gonna have to just follow up with that. I just say, let me just tell you something. And I think about it. We have all of the programs represented here today.
Yeah.
All of the socioeconomic programs here today. That's huge.
yeah.
I don't think
Never.
nobody's done that. Now I'm starting to think about it.
Listen,
We're
doing
now
things
you're
out of the
getting
box.
and you're getting real-time information that you can action on. So it should be a line for them here shortly. Because a lot of y'all probably waiting on some answers.
I don't have contracts. Okay.
Okay, I'm sorry. We got a question. Yes, ma'am.
Hi, Leticia Albright with Tamayo Federal Solutions. So we are an 8A. We are what I refer to as your average 8A because
Yes.
we're not tribally owned, ANC, Native Hawaiian owned. I know there are a lot of my brothers and sisters here in the audience too. I understand that Senator Cardin out of Maryland recently put forward some legislation. It was attached to the NDAA to increase the sole source threshold for
Individual
Mhm.
owned.
yeah, individually owned 8As. And so thank you for the words, because I'm
Mhm.
and so unfortunately it made it through the House, but it did not pass in the Senate.
Yes.
Right.
So first off, I wanted to raise some awareness here in this audience that that is out there. That's an initiative. I am highly advocating for it.
Mhm.
Is the SBA, can the SBA make that decision, or does that really have to be driven by the legislation?
Yeah, a couple of years ago, I actually testified before Congress and asked them to raise this to 8 million. And, or to raise it to 4.5 million per year, which would really be, 20 million. So, and the reason is because a $4.5 million contract spread across 5 years, right, is what? It's
Not a
it's
lot.
not much at all. Like maybe $800,000 a year. That might be 4 or 5 FTEs. Companies can do more than that. So the SBA would support an increase, but we do need it to come from Congress. And the other thing I want you to think about is it's great for a company like if you have past performance and you're able to take on a $8 million contract. I think that that's great, but a lot of the companies that are coming in the 8A program, they may not be able to, right? And so you have to, with the contracting officers, they want to know if they put something in the 8A program and it's going to be sole source, that they have a pool of capable firms that can do it. One of the things I want to tell you, there's a big push. I'm just going to switch to this because there is a big push to compete. So contracting offices want also the best price and they want to compete. So while 8As are thinking, let's do more sole source, let's increase the sole source threshold, contracting officers have sometimes a quota to compete. And I want all the contracting officers to know in here, if you have an action that's 8A and it's under 4.5 million, which is the threshold now, instead of saying, I can't put this in the 8A program because it would have to be sole source and I want to compete it, you can contact the SBA and ask us, can you compete that? And we will allow it to compete because we would prefer to have it in the 8A program than not.
Thank you for that, because I was going to ask that too. And if I just may, while I've got the microphone, any of our individually owned 8As that are here today, please contact your senators and congressmen and women. Please advocate for the increase and let's get our voices heard.
Mhm.
Well,
Good morning. My name is Dwight Franklin with Professional Management Consulting Services. I am here to just give some flowers.
Hi, Dwight.
Hello. And I want to say to everybody here that what we are experiencing is really kind of unusual. So what Shannon and his team has put together is awesome. And I can tell you from my own personal experience with all three of them, with Jackie, with Francine, and with Shannon, you three have helped my business immensely.
Thank you.
Okay. And I just wanted to tell you all that. And thank you for your support. And what you all have said and what you all have the energy is real, right? It's not faking it. I've experienced it with all of you. Okay. And Jackie, I got to tell you this too. I am a little perturbed. One thing. One thing. When you took Francine from the National Science Foundation, I was like, what the heck? So, I just want to tell you all, thank you so much. It's a pleasure to see you all here. And thank you for being an advocate for all of us and continue the good fight. And we're here to help you and support you along the way. All
Thank
right.
you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. My name is Vincent Lott. My company is Bavira Solutions. We are an 8A firm. We have contracts at CDC, and I just want to thank you all for putting this on. And it just feels like something good is happening. You know what I'm saying? It really
is.
feels like something good is in the air, and it's going to benefit all of us. My question, Jackie, you mentioned about that statistic. When I got into the 8A program, I heard that statistic about 8A firms 3 to 4 years after we graduate, we end up going out of business. And that's been really in the back of my mind. You mentioned the move for 8As to go to mid-tier. And you also mentioned that you think the mentor protege program is a part of that. I was in the early mentor protege program. Didn't really, I appreciated the guidance that I got from my mentors, but over that 6-year term, I got in early in 2016. Over that 6-year term, I never really got any subcontracts or anything like that.
Okay.
So do you have something in mind
Yes. Let me
on
talk about that.
that mentor protege program can really help us? Because right now,
Yes.
my mindset is, how do I get to mid-tier and how do I get to large business? But it doesn't really seem like a real clear path.
So let me say
what do you
this because
think?
I know we're running out of time. A protege can have 2 mentors in their lifetime. If that protege and mentor agreement is not working, you can get out of it if you get out of it before 18 months. So I think around 12 months, you should start looking at this is not working and get out of it. And then you can get back to having 2, because you only get 2 in your lifetime. If you wait and drag it out 4, 5, 6 years, just extending it and it's not a value, you've lost your 1 of 2 or your 2. When you get ready to graduate as an 8A, this is not just an 8A, but any company, you want to have 2 types of agreements. You want to be mentored by a larger company. So get a larger company to mentor you. And then you want to be mentoring a protege. Don't just allow someone to come and sign an agreement and say, okay, we have a mentor protege agreement, put this on a capability document, we're good. Have a meeting 2 to 4 weeks after that agreement is signed with both executive teams, come together, brief all of your contracts that the protege has, all that the mentor has, and then create a joint pipeline where the protege is introducing the mentor to their agencies and the mentor is introducing the protege to theirs, and create a joint pipeline. These proteges, there are contracts that agencies you're currently working with may not give you with your capabilities alone, but now that you have the mentor's past performance that is automatically attached to that joint venture, they may offer bigger contracts. You don't want a protege that just has a certification. Like, I don't want a protege that just has 8A certification. I want a protege that has relationships in agencies that I don't have relationships in. They're going to open doors for me and I'm going to open doors for them.
Can I add? And let me just add to that just one second, Ken. Think about, you do not have to formulate a mentor protege right away.
No, date.
Build a relationship with the firm.
Mhm.
You know, so also often we get into these, we get into these mentor proteges because you're going after a contract and then you don't even win it. And now you're in this relationship that's nothing's happening. And so you need to slow down and make good business decisions. Okay, because then you're calling SBA and saying, how can you help? No, you have to be the president of your company. You know what that means? That means you're leading from the front. So slow down, make good decisions. Don't jump into these relationships right away, and make sure that that you want this. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And you really
You
need
do
to think about that. Okay, we
Yeah.
give you the tools, but you're making the decisions.
Yeah,
This
it's
is
a
happening.
marriage, so
We
you
got
want to
two-
date.
Two more questions?
Last two questions.
Okay.
Hello, my name is Paula Watts. I
Yes.
am the CEO of Government Procurement Innovators, better known as GPI. I want to first thank you. Thank you. I've played on both sides. I've been in this industry for 30 years on the contracting side as well as working with SBA. And the energy that I'm seeing with you, Shannon, and all of you, y'all need to suck this up because this is not, I've never seen it before.
Mhm.
So I'm giving you all and saluting you all for what you're doing. I appreciate the change. Thank you.
Last question.
I too would like to make a comment. Hi, Jackie. Hi, my name is Antoinette Williams. I'm President and CEO of Williams Consulting. We are a woman-owned 8A hub zone in 7 agencies. We're still small. And I do want to thank you, Jackie, because you were one of the first people that I met when I started this firm and came out of publicly traded. And it's been amazing. But I also want to echo what I heard today, which is this is not the norm. What you see, I'm up in DC all the time. Thank you, Shannon. This is not the norm. We are so blessed. But I also want to give a shout out to you guys for what you're doing for Black-owned, women-owned business. You know, our numbers are still bleak. They're very bleak. 8A woman-owned hub zone, our numbers are bleak, but they're getting better. I'm getting access with 30 years of experience. I'm getting access to contracts that I may not have been able to. But finally, I just need to say this to all of you in this room. This can change. This can change so quickly. And we've got to advocate for ourselves. We have to pay attention to the politics. Not everybody wants this to happen. And I have to say this to you. Not everybody wants this to happen. And so when you're thinking about what needs to happen this upcoming year, when you're thinking about how large business feels about this, and I was in large publicly traded business for 25 years, you need to understand that you have to pay attention to the political process. Thank you.
Yeah, let me say, because we could never lobby or encourage you to contact your congressional leaders, but I want to tell you the attacks are coming from large companies, they're coming from the courts, and they're coming from across the aisle in Congress. So I'll just tell you that they're coming from multiple places. And, you know, I know it looks exciting for me to be here and sitting. And I think somebody asked me earlier, oh, they must have made you a really great offer. I want you all to know, I took a $100,000 pay cut to come back to the government. And in addition to that, I had a small company that was doing very well. I was working 40 hours a month. I'm now working 60 hours a week. And I was working 40 hours from home. I'm going into the office, an hour and a half commute to DC every day. And it's for 60 hours for $100,000 less. And next year, when I leave, because I said I'm only going to be your year and I'll make stuff happen.
That's it.
And then next year I have a cooling off period where I can't open my business. So this is not something to do for money or for fame. It's because I care and I want to make things happen for small companies.
Don't leave yet. Don't leave. We're going to get closing comments. Ms. Brisbane?
Okay, I really wanted to echo some of the statements that have been made today. I want to say thank you to Ms. Morris and Ms. Jackie Burnett Robinson for being here. They are longtime colleagues of both Shannon and I. And I just want to, I attend my share conferences, industry council meetings, you name it. You don't get this type of content and information and insight into the inner workings of agencies and how it is that we view, how it is the SBA views what you submit, how it's processed, the timelines that it take, you just get frustrated, and the whys behind it. Right. So I would just encourage everyone here, if you want your business to thrive, remember yesterday I talked about the life cycle of success. And so if you want to be a successful business, and I know everyone who starts a business doesn't want to start and stay small, right?
Right.
You want to grow your business. Take the information. I really, really encourage you to don't just sit on what you've heard over the last 2 days. Take that information forward and make decisions, set goals and objectives for yourself as to what you are going to do with the information you receive, and then also make yourself accountable, whether it be I'll have an accountability partner or you can make yourselves accountable, but make sure you're doing something with the information because you do not get this type of content at most conferences. Thank you for being here, but make sure that you are making sure that all the things that you hear, you're putting actions to it. Okay, thanks.
So we're gonna wrap this session up. We'll first start with Francine, and then we're gonna end with you, Jackie. So Francine, you go first.
Thank you, Shannon. So, first of all, I want to make one comment. I want to respond to the RFI question. While the agency may not have the resources to respond back to you to let you know that they're looking at these things, I want you to know on my staff, I have procurement center representatives. We use that information when we're reviewing those requirements that the agencies that are putting out to ensure that small businesses have the opportunity. So while you may think that no one's looking at this and your stuff is going in a black hole and all that kind of stuff, SBA, we exist and we see you, and we use that information when we are negotiating with the agencies on these requirements. So I want to put that plug in. My closing remarks. Thank you. I've been knowing Shannon for a very long time, and I'm going to put this out too. I guess I got a little bit of Jackie in me. When Shannon went into HHS, and he'll tell you the story. I ran into him one day and I heard that he was taking on this position at HHS. And I went over to him and I gave him a big hug. It was huge. And I said, it's going to be okay. That's what I told him. And to see, we look at different agencies. Jackie mentioned the scorecard and the ratings and the whole bit. To see the changes that HHS has made has been just astounding. And I want to take my moment for remarks to thank you, because folks like you make my job easier. And I appreciate you very much. And thank you, Katrina and team, the whole bit, for being just a big advocate for small businesses. I'm still coming to meet you, but I want you to.
Thank you.
Jackie.
I'm so excited and happy to see all of you here and taking this time to engage. There were a lot of cards left on the table when you walked in. There were just a bunch left on. Sometimes it's because an event is free, or sometimes because they're not supposed to be here. You were supposed to be here. It was supposed to be you. And just as much as you engage government leaders, like I see the line coming to the speakers, engage each other. If you haven't passed your card to the person next to you and set up an opportunity to speak and see how you can have synergy and leverage their expertise for opportunities, please do that. Please do that. Take care, and I'll be here for the rest of the day.
Let's give another round of applause to the panel. Thank you, ladies.